detto Nina.
It's like one of those things that you like and wish you could do sometimes. Ever since I've been to like proverbial, I'm like, where did you come up with that from? Like somebody said it in your work today, and you're like, that's cool. So I'm gonna try to.
Proverbial.
Yeah.
So you haven't seen that picture? You want to start a picture?
Yeah.
Proverbial is kind of like a story to describe
Yeah.
the event, right? One word, most recent word I learned.
So you just let you know that last substance can change on its second.
Genuine.
That's amazing. That's amazing. That's amazing.
Means specifically it's when housing or housing market it increases so much that a certain class of people in that area to gentrification as actually that happened. I'm saying that it was happening a lot. It's like
Oh yeah.
all those areas, like
Oh,
yeah, exactly.
no one knows what really wrong.
I buy a house in downtown Toronto now. Unless you like,
Why not?
I was looking for a house that has 2 cars.
Okay.
Because I don't like to do the shuffling with the
Your house all done yet?
Of course it is. Right? What do they call it? Musical cars. So musical cars. One and a half of this.
Yeah.
And then if you go just north, it has 2 parking lots. One parking lot is like 2
If I do it, there's
No, no, you're fine with yours in there.
Different what?
Right?
Okay.
So I'm looking at Stouffville Road.
if you
Go into
what is the
like
name?
Aurora, it's like super expensive. Greenbrier,
Even more.
super expensive. Yeah, I know.
Well, technically we get more affordable now. We can just buy a second.
I don't want to. So I decided that we'll stay where we are. Because
And you will play musical cars.
to be honest, if you move that far away, it's like driving down to the side
That's only if you join the
That
section,
one.
so you just pay for the month.
then you're
So
gonna have
it's
larger
a
volumes.
one-time
These Ferraris are even
but
more
it just
money.
depends.
So then you're gonna have less cash flow. All in all, is that a deal?
Might just be worth to extend your
I'm
driveway just a little bit.
20 minutes away.
Oh really?
was the stage of life.
What was that? Is that all it's
Yeah, there's, and so we looked into it, and it's almost $25 a day.
407? Yeah, I know. I know.
I was like, why can't I just
Only
go
on
get
free
it?
will.
Some kids are good, for some kids it's a take
Required, maybe we'll get enough to pay it off.
Are you in this building?
And then everyone's gonna be like, well, I live in Toronto, I'm never gonna use this. Why should I pay for it?
starting demand of the
I was like, wow, I could sit in traffic for an extra 15 minutes, be there, I'll pay $3 because I have a transponder, right? Like, okay, I'll pay.
Oh, okay.
Well,
The entry and exit.
entry and exit, I think is $6. No, the photo thing, I think is $6. $6 every time I go on. It's a class B $5 here. Register is $10 or $15. Right? And all you pay is for like the entry fee, which is $1. It used to be $7, but now they have it $4. So if you pay $1, you get it per and you're not entirely paying $1.
They don't want to make
Rush
money.
hour is $5. Saturday afternoon is $2.
Okay. The funny other lamb shop,
Some people don't say $60
Good too.
I'm right by the 407.
Yeah.
407 all the
So you're like young sources.
Yeah, yeah, you're the 407.
So you're like, you're routine Hilton.
I am, yep,
That's
exactly.
easy, right? It's just that right now.
Yeah,
No
young
traffic.
kids sucks, man.
Yeah, so on the way back out, I went at 5 o'clock up until still
You can't go
so
anywhere.
bad.
You can't go anywhere. They don't, actually, I don't think they work Sundays.
His work?
All you, there's only the main roads. So you have the on one side, Baptist on the other. There's no interchange streets that
They
you
do
could,
like
no, because there's
like Willowdale
no,
stops.
there's like ravines, train tracks, this and that. That the roads just go and stop. Right? And then on the other side it continues. So there's really no way to
Project manager.
So if you wanna go,
That's the problem. I know a lot of people like going up to New Market. No option. 400 is too far, 404 is too far. And it's just all down Baptist traffic. And they've made that right lane 3 car zones or something.
suggested, I think. I think it's suggested.
So I'm not the only one.
Really?
Well, because I've been working road walking for like 8 years, right? So like, okay, from here to here, I would never take it. Right? But beforehand, yeah, it's like 30 minutes.
I'm just gonna make a right turn right there. I'm heading
I'm going, and then the other place yet, but there's spots where they'll allow me to. And there's a few times I swing home, like, you know what? I'll just go back in the middle of the day because I don't feel like risking it. Sure enough, cops there, I hit like 7 cars.
This is one time on the 403, the truck was going right by Sherwood, going up, and I was like, you know what, I'm not waiting in this, I usually do passenger, and I usually take this, I'm not waiting in the lane next to it, because I can't see this guy, right? I'm going, I'm like, oh, I see the cop, like, it's like this, and there's this little, you know the divider, like, widened out, he was waiting right there.
So
And I was just like, so big, I'm like, there's no way I can get out of this, this is gonna make me do if I get out, and I just go, and I just like, slightly like slouch down, have my sunglasses on, no eye contact, there's a car behind me, he's like following me real close.
Yeah.
Get by, the next exit, I'm out of there. It's a bad gift.
Several points.
Really when you carpool, I don't know if my parents would accept it. It's like, is that gonna bother you? I don't know.
My wife was saying that it doesn't count from, it's not a carpool, it's a high occupancy vehicle. Right? High occupancy. So, more than less than 2%.
What about kids, like the babies?
So that's what my wife was saying.
Hello, who joined the call?
Hi, this is Captain Ho.
Hi.
I also joined as well.
Hello.
Hi, I'm Ingrid.
Hi, Ingrid. Can you see the YouTube live stream?
I can see the screen, but it's not clear. Sorry, I'm wearing. See, like, I just feel like.
Still dark. Not loud for kids. Still dark. It's a bad time.
Three persons with driver's license and just a guy.
Talk them in.
Be serious.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, that's the energy. Yeah, it's so glad to see all the guests here. Thank you so much for coming. Welcome to Young Shepherd Toastmasters Club Open House. If you're wondering whether we are young or not, yes, we are young because we don't stop learning. Our normal process is we introduce all the guests here. So let's just stand up and tell your name and which office you're working from. That way we'll just get an understanding where you're from, and we'll get started. Okay, we have some time, so we'll do some quick introductions, name and office. That will do good. We'll start with you.
Oh, me?
Yeah.
No, this is Anna. Or...
Yeah, it's okay.
Oh, okay.
How are you comfortable?
My name is Lillian. I work on the 16th floor.
Oh yeah, that's nice. Thank you, Lillian.
My name is Amin. I'm not working here, but actually, I'm calling outside the building.
Okay, thank you. We'll start clapping you. Come on.
My name's Sharia Rico, and I work for the Project Management Office in YC1.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Irene. I work at this floor.
Thank you.
The KODR team.
That's nice.
I'm from 120 floor, working for wealth management.
That's nice. Thank you.
I'm Bettina. I'm on this floor.
That's nice.
I'm Penny. I'm also on this floor.
That's nice. Okay. Start.
Okay. My name is Jiadong, and I work on the 11th floor. And my team is the media.
Oh yeah.
Media.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Noel. I work in multiple locations here on 16th floor, 55th floor, and home-based project.
That's nice.
Hi everyone, my name is Anna. I work on this floor on the EW team.
Thank you.
Hello, I'm Kevin. I also work on this floor. I'm on PODR.
Thank you.
Hi everyone, I'm Saravanan. I'm working in this floor for EWT.
That's nice.
I'm Chi. I'm from the YC1 floor.
Good.
Hello everyone, my name is Gajane and I'm your area director.
Thank you, Gajana. There. Yes.
Really good here.
Not the right time.
My name is Madeline. I work on the 16th floor.
Thank you, Madeline.
I am Vivek. I'm on the 16th floor as well.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Inka. I'm at 120 floor and I'm QA.
Thank you.
My name is Eric Zhu. I'm working on the YSC1.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Nirbhay. I'm working at 120 Blue Street in digitization.
Okay, thank you.
Hi, I'm Sandra. I'm working at Young Shepherd Release Management Team.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Richard. I don't work on time.
Yeah, happy and retired. That's nice. Whoever we did not introduce are our club members. We will now do a quick introduction of our club members. We have some time. My name is Shivkumar Dudi. I'm the current president of the club. We are having a change of guard today, so you'll hear more of it. So, Jack?
Jack Chu, I'm the club treasurer.
He has all the money. Okay.
My name is Manish, and I'm part of the YC Toastmaster Club. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Siddharth. I'm the member of the YSC Club.
Yeah, we also need club.
I'm Ken Chung. I'm the DPF membership of the club.
nice. That's nice. That's nice. A big round of applause for all the answers. So how many of you know about Toastmasters or attended a Toastmasters club, like all the guests? Raise of hands. Anyone? Okay. So many of you don't know what is Toastmasters. And the good thing is, I'm not going to tell you about that. I will tell you why you should join Toastmasters and how you're going to get benefit out of it. To start with, if you look at your agenda, there is a theme. We have a theme. The theme is annual performance reviews. Who is excited about the topic? Anyone? Yes. The thing with performance reviews is you can hate it, you can love it, but you can't ignore it. Right? I was excited, super excited a few years ago about my annual performance reviews. Why? I worked for 400 hours of overtime. It's overtime, okay? To deliver a very large project. As a result, I knew actually I will get an outstanding rating and a promotion as well. I met my manager. I asked my manager, what's happening? She handed over my rating, okay? I was super excited. Needs improvement. Why? She told me 3 reasons why I got needs improvement. First one, I don't listen. She told me I did everything except what she told me to do. The second one, my meetings, the meetings I book for 30 minutes, but they're going on for 2 hours. And finally, I'm not prepared to learn anything new. I started wondering, listen, communicate, and learn. They're not in my job description, but still they impacted my rating. Later on, I attended the Toastmasters open house, and I was like one of you sitting. And then this is what happened. So you're going to see what happened to me that day. Okay? To show you what really happened, we will introduce our head table today, who are going to help me with the meeting. Let me introduce my head table. First is the timer, Manish. You can hold on to your applause. Then we have the grammarian, Nina. We have our general evaluator, Jack. We have our table topics, Barb. This is our head table. Yep. So first of all, what did I say? It's listening. So you want to know how we listen here? First of all, I'll introduce you our timer, who is actually timing every movement here. So Manish, can you stand up and explain the role of a timer?
So welcome everyone. The role of timer is to keep the meeting on time, and the speeches which is going to be happen here. So every speech has a different timeline. So based upon the individual who is working on which speech. So if it is within the time, so I have to show the green card, and when it is showing towards the like red, running up, so it's yellow, and then finally it is the red. So now the time is up. So thank you.
Thank you, Manish. The good thing with timing is once I've been through Toastmasters, now I don't spend 2 hours for my meeting, I spend only 5 to 7 minutes, and you'll know how we do it in 5 to 7 minutes. Moving on, next thing, part of listening is very important. We have one more role. I will introduce Nina, come over. Nina is our grammarian.
Toastmaster. Dear Toastmaster and guests, the word of the day is the purpose. The purpose of the word of the day is to extend your vocabulary if you don't know the word, or refresh your memory if you know the word. Today's theme is annual performance review. So what do I care about annual performance review? What do you care?
Your bonus?
Great. So I choose the word reward, because that's everybody care. That's the first thing I care about my bonus. So, so Dale Carnegie said, people work for money but go the extra miles for recognition, praise, and reward. Today, I choose the word reward. Reward can be a noun, a thing given in a recognition of one's service, effort, or achievement. And for example, the holiday was a reward for 40 years service with the company. And the second meaning is a fair return for good or bad behavior. A slap, for example, a slap on the face was his reward for his impudence. Reward can be a verb as well. Making a gift of something to someone in recognition of the service, efforts, or achievements. For example, the engineer who supervised the work was rewarded with bonus. Another meaning is show one's appreciation by making a gift. An effective organization recognizes and rewards creativity and initiative. Third meaning is receive what one deserves. Their hard work was rewarded by the winning of a 5-year contract. Please use the word reward when you speak today. And when you heard the word reward, please knock the table 3 times to appreciate it. And at the end of meeting, I'm going to count how many times this word has been used. And I'm going also to provide a filler reward. That means when you speak, you talk like those things. I'm going to count how many times you have been used in your speech. Actually, I already started counting when you guys introduce yourself. I'm going to provide a report at the end of the meeting, and you will know how good we are. Thank you.
Thank you, Nina. The good thing with this role that you take up is you're going to listen anything and everything. And in addition to the work, what happened is at home, now I listen to my wife so deeply that I can even understand what she doesn't say. So you're going to get that benefit here as well. Good. Moving on, the next one is the communication part. And we are privileged to have a very special event today. We have a joke as well. We have a joke which is going to run for 5 minutes. And for that, we have a very special person here. He's called a DTM. He has got his DTM. DTM is like a PhD in Toastmasters. And we have a privileged member who has got that recognition, and he's Kenneth Chung. And I'm going to invite him to do the joke of the day. Turn on the camera here. Just give me a sec. Oh, this is hard. Hold on. Hope it doesn't collapse on me while. What's going on? Close enough. Yeah. All right. Hello. Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. I need a volunteer to help me out. I think Tina. Oh, Tina, if you can come up, give her a round of applause. So Tina, I have a reward for you. Reward? No. Good enough. Don't open it yet. Just keep it somewhere safe for now. Okay. And Tina, you read the newspaper every day?
Not really.
Not really? You're not a newspaper person.
Not really.
No, me either. It's funny because I pass by the newsstand every day, but I don't really read the physical newspaper. Like, what do you do? Do you just sleep on the subway, or?
I read on the news on the phone.
Oh, you read it on your phone?
Yeah.
Ah, that's smart. So even on the subway, there's no signal, but you can still.
You download it first and then you read it.
Oh, that's pretty smart. All right. Yeah, I usually just sleep because I don't know. I don't like handling paper. I'm one of those people that I rather read it on the screen. So I passed by the newsstand like a few hundred times, and I don't know where it is actually. It wasn't until recently that I figured out we actually have one at the Shefford station there. So finally, found the paper, grabbed it, and we're gonna play a little game with this newspaper here. So I'm just tearing it up. You have any idea how many words are in a newspaper page? No idea? And I read that maybe average 1,400 or something. So I'm going to shuffle this around. Okay, should I stop here? One more?
One more.
Okay. All right. Okay. So you agree that there's a lot of words on this thing, right? So I'm going to get you to help me here. If you could take the marker. You could just, without looking, just make a X on the bottom. Just, yeah. Count that, count that. You can count it. All right, take your time. All right. Okay. So you guys all agree there's lots of words on this newspaper. You mark some word in there. It could be anything. Could be Trump quote, something embarrassing. Could be a swear word. Who knows, right? Could be something. But you know that you have to take responsibility for your actions, right?
Yes.
Yes. And we're on live broadcast, by the way. So all the VPs are gonna see what's going on here. You guys all know. And BMO's big on e-signatures, right? But today we're gonna go old school. How about I get you to sign on this piece of paper so we make sure that you take responsibility for today. So if you wanna sign this, I guess. Okay, and just to show you, I didn't swap her card. There's nothing else is marked. These all clean, right? You guys all satisfied with that? All right, I'm gonna just leave it here. All right. Okay. So you wanna take a look to see what word that is. If it's really bad, just whisper it in my ear. I'll let you pick another one. Take a look. Don't be too nervous. No. See what you marked on the other side. I can tell you're a little worked up here.
Okay.
Yeah. So what is it?
Celebrating.
Celebrating. Okay. That's not too bad. It's pretty PG-13, right? Didn't have to whisper that in my ear. Okay. My question is, what do you think is in the envelope? What do you think is the reward? Okay, it's not your performance review. That would come up. There are some gift cards, but it's not there. It's there. It's right there. We'll have that later on. It's not a gift card. No. Okay. You know what? Think of something. Lock it in your mind. Have a clear picture of what you think is in the envelope in your mind. Just think of something. Okay. You got it? Okay. Once you got it, open the envelope and tell everybody what's in it.
BMO celebrating 200.
Celebrating BMO 200. Great job, Tina. Great job. That's basically it. I'll pass it back to our Toastmaster.
Thank you.
That's a very good magic trick, folks. If you're wondering, we have rewards here for all of you. Like you need to be more enthusiastic. So whoever is more enthusiastic, you'll definitely get a reward here. So you will have a double bonanza, a lot of rewards to be won. I'll not disclose how many. Good. Let's move on. So as we move on to the next section of the communication part, here this is a time when we have the prepared speeches. I was telling you about delivering your message in 5 to 7 minutes. And to do that, we have a very special speaker. Our veteran Toastmaster, he's our accomplished Toastmaster here. He has been a Toastmaster for more than a decade now. He has been a stand-up comedian. So we are very privileged for Paul to be here to deliver his speech. Before he delivers his speech, I will ask his evaluator to kind of read up his objectives. So David?
Sure. So the Paul is working on this particular speech is Project 3. It's called The Moral of the Story. And we know that storytelling is quite a skill that we would want to develop. And the best stories have some sort of a lesson or insight into human nature or a moral to them. So the objectives of Paul's speech today are to understand that a story can be entertaining, yet display moral values, to create a new story that offers a lesson or moral, and to tell the story using skills developed from a couple of previous projects. This speech is 5 to 7 minutes.
Thank you, David. without any further ado, let's welcome Paul Giordano, our Toastmaster, who is going to deliver the speech. The speech title is Birbal and the Wicked Barber. Paul, Birbal and the Wicked Barber.
Thank you. Birbal and the Wicked Barber. 500 years ago, in India, there was a great emperor. He ruled over vast kingdoms. They called him the Mughal. His name was Akbar. He was a very powerful emperor. But with that power, he needed wisdom. He needed the strength of the people around him. So he surrounded himself with very intelligent ministers. But of all the ministers, there was one who stood out the most. His wisdom was unparalleled. His timing. Every time he spoke to the king, it was with wisdom. His name was Birbal. The king loved this minister. He trusted him with his life. Anytime he made a decision, he looked for Birbal to make the decision. However, as we know in life, when your star rises, the people around you get jealous. The more the king showered his love on Birbal, the more the other ministers were getting jealous of him. He's making us look bad. Publicly, they would say, "Oh, Birbal, you are such a great minister." But behind their backs, they hatched a plan to kill him. And they thought of a way to kill this man. So they thought, how can we kill him? They approached his barber. The king loved his barber, and they told him of their plan. The next time, the king was lying in the barber's chair. He was stroking and cutting his hair, and he was singing the praises of his long-lost father, who had recently passed on into heaven. He said, "Oh, your highness, how long do I miss your father's hair, cutting his beard? He had such silky hair. I wonder how he's doing in heaven. Do you ever consider to take care of him in heaven?" The king looked at him. "You fool, how can I take care of my father in heaven? He's dead. Are you an idiot or something?" "Your highness, there is a way to take care of your father and his hair in heaven. I have met a priest who has told me a plan. We can throw him on the funeral pyre, and the smoke will rise to heaven, and there will be a priest who can utter some mantras, and the person will not be harmed. However, the person has to be utmostly trustful, has to be very brave, and has to be someone you trust with your life." "King, do you know such a man?" The king said. "Why, sure. Birbal is a perfect candidate." So the king went straight to Birbal and told him of his plan to send him to heaven, and he would be able to return back to earth and tell of his father's plight. Birbal sat there for a minute thinking about things. Birbal was a wise man. "King, this is a wonderful plan. It is fantastic, and you are great to think of such a wonderful thing. Can you tell me who came up with this plan?" And he told him, "Oh, my barber, of course." "Well, tell me of the plan." And he went on to tell him what must happen and how he will come back to heaven. Then, after this, Birbal said, "Well, I will need a lot of money before I make this trip. I will need many jewels and rubies, and I will also need 1 month to prepare for the journey." So the king placed in front of him almost half the riches of the empire. Birbal picked it up and took it and went to his house for a month. During that time, he had some trusted allies build a tunnel from the funeral pyre all the way to his house with a hidden trap door. The month ended, and the time was to throw him on the funeral pyre. So they threw him up on the flames, and he jumped and escaped through the trap door. All the wood burnt down, and all the ministers, jealous of him, celebrated. We finally got rid of him. Now we can be kings too. We don't have to deal with this fool making us look stupid all the time. But Birbal had crawled through the ground and stayed at his house for many, many months. He let his beard grow long. His face became disheveled. He looked like a ruffian. The ministers were so happy carrying on in his absence, thinking he's long gone. One day, he showed up at the palace. Great king, I have traveled to heaven, and I have seen your father, and I bring news. The king was so happy. Please sit down, Birbal. Tell me. Tell me how my father is. Your Highness, he is wonderful. They have everything in heaven they need. Everything in heaven. Although the only thing they lack is a good barber. Your father misses so much the barber he had on earth. If only you could send him to heaven. The king says, that's a great idea. That's exactly what I'll do. So the king told the barber his plan. The barber could say nothing without being caught in his plan, his treachery. He was thrown on the funeral pyre and died. No one ever dared mess with Birbal again. Fellow Toastmasters.
Thank you, Paul. That's an amazing speech. You all know the moral of the story now. Now let's take a minute and write some feedback for Paul. You can write things that went well, you can write things that he can improve, and you learn what it actually resolves to, right? This is the learning part of it. Timer, can we have 1 minute? So we have people online too. If you want to share your feedback to Paul, you can write it to me in an email. Awesome. So what is the third one that I said? The learning part. And how do you actually learn? As kids, when we are at school, we used to get feedback, constant feedback from our teachers, from our parents. And the same thing is going to happen in this club. We have a feedback session now, wherein we have the evaluations done, wherein the speakers will learn how they want to do, and oh, sorry folks. And now I got lost. The thing is, regarding the rewards part, so as I mentioned, you all have an option to get rewarded here, and to do that, we have a very interesting session here. Let me invite Barb.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters and guests. At Toastmasters, we have an opportunity to practice public speaking, and there's different ways that we can do this. We can prepare a speech, as Paul did. We can volunteer for one of the regular speaking roles, as Manish did, or we can participate in table topics. Often at work and outside of work, we're asked a question, and we have a short period of time to come up with a coherent, organized answer. Table topics is the part of the meeting where we practice our impromptu speaking skills in a relaxed and informal and supportive environment. We're given a topic which is usually related to the theme of the meeting, and we give a table topic response, which is just a couple of minutes long, 1 or 2 minutes long. The response should have an opening, a body, and an ending, and we try and eliminate filler words like or ah. Now, everyone who volunteers for table topics will have a few minutes to think of the subject. I have an envelope of subjects here, and so what I will do is the volunteers will select a subject from this envelope, and after you select the subject from the envelope, you will have a couple of minutes to think about your subject. Then you will have 1 or 2 minutes to deliver a response. Now, in order to know how long you're speaking for, our timer will hold up colored cards so you have an idea of how long you're speaking. Mr. Timer, would you please hold up the green card at 1 minute, the yellow card at 1.5 minutes, the red card at 2 minutes, and then please ring the bell at 2 minutes and 30 seconds, and then we will all clap to thank the person who has made the speech. Now, today's theme is performance appraisals. We're very often asked today to provide some kind of a review, or reviews about something, whether it's a colleague at work, a movie, a restaurant, or a book we've read, or maybe even an Uber driver. So today's table topics are all about reviews. Your topic will be about some kind of subject, and you will your challenge will be to give a review. Now, the topic may not be something that you're familiar with, so in that case you're asked to just make up something, make up a review. If you're not familiar with the subject, or if you're not familiar with this location, then feel free to just improvise, use your imagination, and just make something up for your review. I think we have time for, let's see.
You can have 3 to 4.
3.
4. 4. You can have 4.
Okay. I think we've got time for 4 table topics today. So I will, what I'll do is I will ask for regular members to participate first, and that way if any guests would like to participate, you can see how it works before you take a turn. And please remember to use the word of the day if it's appropriate. So we've got time for 4 table topics. Would anybody like to volunteer? Are there any volunteers? Manish? Okay. Manish, okay, so.
You can go first and then maybe we'll get more volunteers as we go.
Okay.
Sorry, can I have your name?
What's your name?
Okay. Am I going first?
So it's up to you. You can go first, or if you prefer.
I can wait. Then
That's okay. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, you can go first if you want.
Yeah.
Great. Oh, yeah, sorry, one thing I forgot to mention. Now, normally you have a couple of minutes to think about your subject before you go on.
Okay.
So I'll let you pick something up and look at it. Now, so what will happen is after, and I'm sorry, I didn't get your name.
My name is Anna.
Anna. So after Anna has finished, or once Anna starts speaking, then the next speaker can look at their topic, And I will give you a couple of minutes to think of something to say. And you'll have 1 or 2 minutes to speak. So after Anne is, I'm sorry, I didn't get your name? Pardon me? Kevin. Okay. And then Manish, were you? Okay. Manish, and then is there one more volunteer? Yeah. Amin. Okay.
But you can give someone else.
Yeah,
That's fine. You
Oh,
can
yeah.
anyone.
Okay. Would any other guests like to volunteer?
Yes.
It's voluntary. It's totally up to you. Eric. Okay. Okay, so we'll start with Anna, Kevin, Amin, and Eric.
Just give them the topic so they
Okay, please welcome our first speaker, Anna.
I'm probably gonna and ah a lot, but here it goes. Do I read the top, like what it is first? Okay, so my topic is give a review of a resort in the North Pole. Okay, here we go. I'm 14 years old and my parents decide to bring me to the North Pole. I wanted to be in Orlando. I wanted to be at Disneyland. I wanted to be riding Space Mountain, not staring at Fat Santa, who's kind of looking at me funny, but that's not the point. The point is, it's cold, it's slushy, and I already live in Canada. Why do I have to be at the North Pole? I hate this place. I'm gonna shift over to the parents' view. This is great. Gonna send the kid to do a bunch of stuff, and I can chill with the husband by the warm fire. This is it. This is what I imagined. Okay, I'm done. That's it. I saw the green and I'm done. I'm done. That's what I was waiting for. Okay, thanks everyone.
Thanks, Anna. I love your the way you move around the stage and all your vocal variety, and that was very entertaining. You did a great job. And sorry, I need to let you know that so the way it works is you have 1 to 2 minutes to speak. So when Manish shows the green, that's 1 minute, and he will show the yellow at 1.5 minutes, and the red at 2 minutes. So when you see the red,
I just saw the green. I'm like, okay.
yeah. Okay. So sorry, I probably should have made that more clear earlier. So when you see the red, that's when you can stop. So please help me welcome our next speaker, Kevin.
Okay, my name's Kevin. I'll be talking about, or my topic is give a review of McDonald's restaurants. So I'm not going to go into a theatrical performance like Anna did, but I'm just going to give you my opinion of McDonald's. So I would start off with, I would really commend McDonald's for how they've actually grown and evolved over the years, because as a kid I remember all they had was Big Macs, cheeseburgers, and french fries, and milkshakes. And styrofoam containers, which were very bad for the environment. And they've evolved to the point of having pizzas, which I thought was great, but it took forever in the drive-thru. Then they moved over to being biodegradable, so all those styrofoam containers went away, and they moved into paper and wrappers that could be recycled. And now we're in this age of technology. They've now introduced these big tablets, if you will, where you can order. You don't have to stand in line like a sheep. You can just go in there, choose what you want. So I commend them for that evolution that they've made, and as well as the order ahead. So I'm a huge fan of ordering ahead on my phone and then just go in and pick it up. Not at McDonald's, but really at Starbucks. But this is McDonald's, and now they have realize that they have that. So I must say that their transition and being always, I guess, on the edge of the market and being conscious about the environment and changing the menus all the time to serve the customers' needs, I think is really, really well. That's it. McDonald's.
Thanks very much, Kevin. I really liked your the chronology of McDonald's. You really seem to know a lot about McDonald's. That was great. Great speech. Thank you very much. Please help me welcome our next speaker, Amin.
So I need to give a review of a resort on a tropical island in the Caribbean. I think so whenever you want to relax or have a good beach, you go to Caribbean island. But with this global warming that we have today, I think maybe in 1 or 2 years you don't want to go to this island anymore. But anyway, this is very good place now to relax and enjoy your life, and just don't think about the ordinary stuff that make your mind busy. Don't think about work. And I haven't been there, but I wish I go there before the global warming comes. You have time.
Thanks very much, Amin. One thing I should have mentioned is that oftentimes you get a table topic and it will not relate to you. Maybe you've never been to this place or you know nothing about it, so you kind of have to improvise. And Amin did a great job of improvising even though he's never been to a Caribbean island before. So our next speaker is Eric. Please help me welcome Eric.
Hi, everyone. My name is Eric Du. I'm going to give a review about 5 days cruise around Lake Ontario. Honestly, I've never been there, but let me make up. So my wife booked this cruise around Lake Ontario for 5 days. Honestly, I wasn't too excited because in the beginning because going to cruise, why you don't go somewhere, right? Why you go to something like coast? But I have 2 kids. They're like too excited. They don't care where they go. As long as they're going somewhere to play, they're very happy. So after 2-hour drive, we got there. It's like a small ferry. There's but the cruise is pretty nice. So I was like, okay, that's a good start. So we on board there. They're starting travel around Lake Ontario, and I saw some nice. Because it's the fall, so it's around September. We saw some nice leaves, maples. Well, it's pretty nice. And then started raining. we have to go inside the cabin, but the kid don't want to go. So they were just like, I have to hold the umbrella, and the kid was scared to tell, okay, this is the place. You will see the fish. This is the place. There's the small island. There's a nice building. So they love it, but it's getting too cold. So I tell them, okay, go back, and that's basically the day. Well, it's okay. So it's nice weather. It's nice weather in the next couple of days, and we enjoy it. So it's overall a nice experience. Thank you.
Thank you, Eric. Once again. You did a great job. You took a subject that you've never been on a cruise around Lake Ontario before, but you made something up. And I'm sure that probably a lot of people have never cruised Lake Ontario before. So now this is the part of the meeting. If you in front of you, you will have a slip of paper. There's a green and a yellow side, and is it the yellow?
Yes.
Yeah. The yellow side is best table topic speaker. So if you could please vote for the best table topic speaker. Just to give you a recap, we had Anna talked about the North Pole, Kevin about McDonald's, Amin talked about a Caribbean island, and Eric talked about cruise. So if you could just take a minute and write down who you think the best speaker was, and I will collect your ballots and then give you the report at the end of the meeting. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Barb. It's the rewards time, right? So what I'm saying is we have rewards. So make sure you nominate whoever you felt is good. As this process is going on, as I clearly mentioned, we have the third part, which is learning part. And the learning you will do only through feedback. That's how we have grown as kids, as at work we grew. And the same kind of feedback you get it in this club as well. And to do that feedback process, let me invite our general evaluator, Jack.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. Hello, Toastmasters. Welcome guests today. This part of the meeting is to evaluate anything and everything that took place in the meeting, and it helps us to learn. I'll start by asking for the different reports, and then I'll comment with my own observations of the meeting. First of all, I'd like to invite David, our Paul's speech evaluator, to come up and provide feedback for Paul's speech. Please help me welcome David.
Thank you, Jack, Mr. General Evaluator, fellow Toastmasters, and guests. So today we got a real delight in hearing Paul's speech, and Paul has been a long-standing member of the club, and I've heard Paul speak on many occasions, but I haven't actually heard him give a speech, so it was quite a delight. I think what I heard, and I'm sure many of you did as well, Paul's actually a very talented storyteller, and I think it's a bit of a gift that you do have, and a strength for sure. So things that I liked about Paul's speech, from a structure perspective, Paul's speech was essentially a story, all of it. So there's a definitive open, there's the main body, and then there's a very clear close. And that was really the arc of the story, sort of introducing the characters, the things that happen over the course of the story, and then a very definitive and perhaps unexpected conclusion. From a content perspective, this was something that I really enjoyed as well. Stories and fables, they're something that I don't hear that often these days. It reminds me of when I was a kid, or hearing stories from the Bible or different religions, or if you read a lot of fiction, which I don't read enough of, then you kind of get those elements. But what makes a really good story is that there's good characters. And in this case, you've got Burbal, you've got the scheming, jealous ministers, you've got the barber, and you've got the king. So those were all there. And then you've got some kind of a conflict. And really, there were a couple of them. Really, the first main one was, once Burbal was confronted with the king's plan, what would he do? He had that decision point. Do you offend the king, or do you do you do something else, which is exactly what he did. So he was very clever and thought it was a good idea to go with the king's plan. But he also took a moment and he thought about what he was going to say. He kind of paused, and then he came back with the plan in his mind, which was to buy some time and do a bit of a workaround. I think throughout the story as well, you wrapped it with some detail that was pretty rich. I think of the scheming, jealous ministers, and this maybe big, slightly buffoonish king that has a big ego, and this sort of wicked barber there, and spending a month to dig a tunnel between the funeral pyre and his home. Like these, you kind of get wrapped up in terms of the detail that would be there. You also added detail with things like his long silky beard, and you could just up in heaven. There were those sort of details. You're very strong with your delivery in terms of stage presence and moving around. the vocal variety, everything that you included. If I'm to offer any sort of point of growth because you are an advanced speaker, it's really to make the contrasts even bigger. So if Birbal and the king are the characters that they are, make the barber even more wicked, and it could be through your voice or body language, that sort of thing. But overall, an excellent speech, and I do look forward to the next one that you give. Thank you.
Thank you, David. Our next report is going to come from our timer. Manish, could you announce the timings today, please?
So the first speech was given by Paul, and he took 6 minutes 30 seconds. Okay, and I'm sorry about all the table topics. I scared all of them. So it's, the beauty of table topic is something impromptu speak, and if you're standing there, so you'll be definitely scared at the time. So good luck for next time. So the first, Anna took 1 minute 5 seconds. Kevin took 1 minute 35 seconds. Amin he took 55 seconds, and Eric took 1 minute 50 seconds. And speech and then speech evaluation, David took 3 minutes and 45 seconds. So I'm still monitoring your time when you start your remain. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Manish. Nina, our word master for today. Please give me a report on the total number of times the word of the day was used and the total count of the filler words.
The word of day has been used 11 times, and half of them was used by Siva, so he get the biggest reward. I also want to point out people sometimes like to think about, like to say, and, oh, so, you didn't pay attention, we'll see this. Sometimes you can use a so, sometimes it's just for you to feeling. Like so its total count is 66 times, but with such a big audience, it's not bad. I think it's pretty good. Thank you.
Thank you, Nina. I'd like to point out that Nina may have gotten some people's names, so if you want your individual account, please approach Nina at the end of the meeting, and she can let you know. At this point of the meeting, I'd like to take 3 minutes to comment on a meeting as a whole, going through each of the roles one by one. For our timing today, we did start promptly at 12 o'clock, and I know our Toastmaster did try to allow all our guests to introduce themselves. So with such a great turnout today, that took a little bit longer, and yes, it is. We have a lot of new people, but our meeting agenda more or less does follow what you see in front of you on the agenda. So we do try to follow the agenda and keep on time. So we started on time, and we're a little bit late now, I believe, but we did follow the agenda, so that's good. Nina, our word master, she explained the role and the word of the day. I would suggest that maybe she could have spent a bit more time explaining that other than just the word master introducing the word of the day, she's also keeping track of the filler words. Filler words are all the ums, ahs, and so ons that we use during regular speech that just drags things on and it makes us less coherent and very distracting. So if we have a goal to try to reduce or eliminate filler words, that would be best. And one way to improve is keep monitoring, someone keep track, advise, practice, and we can all get better with that. Our table topics master today, Barb, thank you for soliciting 4 volunteers. I know the process is a little bit new if you haven't been to a Toastmasters club or first time, but she did a good job explaining the role and soliciting volunteers. She also did encourage people to participate, and we did have the option to allow more guest speakers to talk, so some of the members gave up their spots, so I'd like that. It's always a good chance to try table topics. So thank you for making that happen. We clapped between each speaker. We reminded people to use the word of the day, so that was good. David, our speech evaluator for Paul. part of our process to improve, each of the speeches, prepared speeches, we have a speech evaluator. Today was David. The did wells and do betters. The did well is David did an excellent, what do you call it? One of those, it's almost like a movie review, something like a critique. You get a whole recap of the whole thing. But that was great if we were doing that, if David was doing that. I'd like to suggest that at the beginning of Paul's speech, he read out the speech objectives. And as evaluator, we want to stay focused on the speech objectives. It's good to use some exact examples that Paul used, but just in the, let's say you talk for 3 minutes, if you spend 2 minutes recapping Paul's speech, and then you only spend 1 minute providing the exact details, the feedback for improvements, I would suggest to reverse that a bit, so you spend more time focusing on what Paul did well, the do betters, the vocal variety, the gestures, and, improvements such as body language, something like that. Okay. Toastmaster, Siva today very enthusiastic, well prepared. This is the first time that we've had such a large audience come up to our open house, so it's a little bit different for the timing. But I think you did did a good job. The meeting went well, and we stayed largely on track. This is the lunchtime club, so we are trying to keep within our time. Okay. Overall, I'm very pleased that we had a well meeting, good turnout, and thank you very much for attending. I'd like to bring it back to Siva. Thank you.
Thank you, Jack. That was a wonderful review. Now, as I said, there are rewards, right? So we have one that is already lined up. And there is one more sheet. If you see the other one, you can fill that one also and pass it on to Barb. If you're wondering what happened after I attended the open house, like you all did, it's been more than 3 years now. It's close to 3 years. I've been doing Toastmasters like anything, and you can see me now standing in front of you, so confident. I feel. I don't have my legs shaking, which used to happen 3 years ago. And one other thing I would like to remind is that happened 3 years ago in a different company. I don't want to mention the name here. But back then, what you need to understand here is Toastmasters is something that your organization will endorse you. That there is a fee involved, but you don't need to pay it. That's what I did. When I was working for a different bank, I got them paid for my Toastmasters membership, and then mid of the year I moved to this to BMO. So what I did is I got one more here. As a result, I took the benefit. I was doing 2 clubs for 1 year. That really helped me a lot. And I'm going to tell you, all of you, it's glad you are here. And irrespective of what you're going to be rated, next year you're going to get what you want. Whether it is anything that you believe in, that you are capable of, you're going to definitely be getting that rating. Only thing what you need to do is, you have 165 hours in a week, and you just need to be here for 1 hour. And you will be more confident and a better speaker. And you don't need to pay anything out of your pocket. The bank is going to pay for it. And we can tell you the process in which you can get that through, but that's what I'm going to tell you. So we'll just do the rewards thing. Ken, can you come up? So we have the results out, folks. Drum roll. So for the table topics, we have a tie here. So we are going to reward both the winners. The drum roll, please. First of all, let me invite Anna. Very good speech. Drum roll for the next one, next winner. It's Kevin.
And Walmart and not McDonald's.
Okay, so we have one more award, which is the most enthusiastic, and drum roll, please. And it is unanimous. We have Paul. Come on, Paul. Yeah. So we usually give ribbons, but we have special today because you're all here. We want to do some rewards. So we have rewards here.
Thank you very much.
Stay here. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So before we go to the guest feedback and all, I would like to have an announcement here. I've been the president of the club till now, and I'm going to pass on my responsibilities to Paul, and we'll have a separate ceremony for that. But since you are all here and we'll start in the new month from tomorrow, I'm going to hand it over to Paul. So Paul is our new president of the club.
Woo. Thank you. I'd like to say a couple words. Siva, your enthusiasm, all the effort you put into this club is we feel it all, and we really appreciate all the work. And I want to thank you for being a great president.
Thank you. Yes, folks. Any guest feedback, guest comments? Anyone wants to say something? Any questions? Open for questions and feedback. Anyone have to say any words here?
Oh, just a quick thing for you guys. On the membership front, we are able to take credit card payments. So if you wanted to pay your membership today, let myself know, and we can process your credit card right now.
Yeah, so you can be a member right now. That's pretty good. That's good news. So anyone wants to do the payments and get to be a member, you can do it today, right now. The room is open till 1:30, so you can hang around. Any other feedback and comments from anyone?
Well, thank you very much.
Just a question. Do you have a website?
Yeah, we have the website. It's there on the booklet. Yeah.
Okay.
And before I wrap up, I would like to invite our area director. He is here. Fortunately, I want him to come over and say a few words.
Hello everyone. I know all of you are thinking, what is an area director? So basically, I provide a bridge between international Toastmasters and the club to assist in any issues that they might be having, and also to hold speech contests. Now I know a lot of guests here were able to attend and get to see distinguished Toastmasters give speeches and see people give table topics, presentations. But also, my role is to help organize speech contests, and we host 2 speech contests throughout the year, one in the fall and one in the spring. We just completed one in the fall at the club, area, and division level. We got to see Shiva Kumar contest at the area contest and division contest. If you can give a big round of applause to Shiva Kumar. It was really amazing seeing him give his speech at both contests, and to see that he provides the same energy at the meeting here today. And so I'd like to keep it nice and short and sweet. One of the other roles of area director is to provide rewards. And so the reward I'll be providing today is to a member at this club. It is for the Triple Crown Award. And so basically the Triple Crown is given to a member who's completed 3 educational awards in 1 year. Now an educational award could be a competent communicator or a competent leader, and it requires a sacrifice of your time and effort to complete 1. And to complete 3 awards in 1 year is pretty amazing. So without further ado, I'd like to present the Triple Crown Award to Shiva Kumar. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. We are way past the time, but any other questions, you may leave, and if you have any questions, we can stay back. You want to do membership, you can do it. As I keep mentioning, everything is funded by the bank, so you don't need to pay anything out of your pocket. Even if you pay, you can get it reimbursed. Any other questions?
I think Sherry had something to say.
No, I'm just going to say thank you very much for putting this on today. It's made me think that this is probably what I want to do. That's going to help me improving my presentation skills and just speaking in front of a large group of people. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much for coming.